Let's go back into our Fit and Window view by pressing Control-0 if you're working on a Windows PC or Command-0 if you're working on the Mac. And what we're going to do is we're going to place the address information down at the bottom of the page. Now I'm going to intentionally make a mistake here by going to File, Place, and selecting the business card address information. When I do that, it's going to replace all that formatting that we carefully did in the second panel with our new text. We didn't want to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go Command-Z as I'm working on the Mac. If you're working in a Windows PC, it would be Control-Z, and you'll see it'll do just like we talked about before. It'll take that text and replace it with a place gun for my cursor and bring my original text back where I made the mistake before. I'm going to place this text a little bit differently by holding the mouse button down when I'm at the left side margin of that fourth panel and dragging it down and to the right. When I do so, it allows me to define the area that that text frame is going to take up, and now what I can do is I can format this text. Very quickly, I'm going to double click to highlight, in this case at 800, and I'm going to go Command A to highlight all the text. It'd be Control A if you're working on a Windows PC. And I'm going to go back to my character formatting. In this case, from the control panel, again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that and I'm going to change it to Arial. But this time, since I've already used that font, I can actually go to the top. I don't need to find exactly where that space is. And I'm going to take that type and I'm going to make it regular weight. Then I'm going to change the type size to 7 and the leading to 7 points by double clicking in this number and typing the number 7 and hitting a return. I want to center this type. I'm not going to do that though from the control panel. I'm not going to do it from the panel over here from the side dock either. I'm the keyboard shortcut Command-Shift-C. If you're on a Mac, it'd be Control-Shift-C. If I'm working on a Windows PC, to center that type right on the screen. Now, our text frame is taking up a lot more space than we need to hold that text. So I'm going to get my selection tool, go to the center anchor point at the bottom of that text frame, and drag it up to the very bottom of that text. I'm going to put my cursor in the middle and then drag that down to set it against the bottom margin of our card flyer. To see what we're working with up close and personal, I'm going to go Command-4 to zoom that and bring it on screen. If you're on a Windows PC, Control-4 would be that keyboard shortcut. Now, as I look at my text, I can see that I need to do a little bit of formatting here. If I look at my original printout, I can see the word main, the word fax, and the web address are all bolded. In addition, I can see that the totaltraining.com web address is actually bold italic. So I'm going to start first with the main information by taking my cursor and placing it just to the right of that colon next to the word main. I'm going to double click to change from my selection tool to my text tool and hold the mouse button down and drag it to the left to highlight the word main as well as that colon character. I'm then going to go to the regular weight and I'm going to change that to bold. Let's do the same thing with the fax information. I'm going to go just to the right of that colon, highlight all that text, and in this case what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the character panel from the side dock and I'm going to change that from regular to bold. Finally, I'm going to highlight this web address, www.totaltraining.com, and I'm going to change this to bold italic, but I'm not going to do it from either the control panel or the character panel from the side dock. I'm going to use the keyboard shortcut Command-Shift-B for bold and Command-Shift-I for italic to take that type and make it bold italic. If you're working on a Windows PC, you'd be using the Control-Shift-B and Control-Shift-I keyboard shortcuts to do the same thing. Now you'll notice after I did that, that the font weight changed to bold italic in my character panel, as well as my control panel up above the document window. That's the third way that we can format type very quickly, is using that keyboard shortcut, Command-Shift-B to make it bold, Command-Shift-I, or use the Control key with the Shift and the B and I characters to do that on the Windows PC. Now, we're missing two more things, these little dots that sit between the main and fax numbers and between the fax number and the web address. Those are called bullets, and we're going to place those in manually working with InDesign by first taking our cursor and clicking right to the right of the last 5 in our main number. We're going to place a space so they're evenly spaced in between, and then I'm going to go to the Type pull-down menu to insert special character, symbols, bullet character. And when I let up on the mouse button, it'll place that bullet right in between the main and fax numbers. Now, I've already done that once, so I don't want to do it twice. I'm going to double click to highlight that bullet. I'm going to go Command-C to copy it, then place my cursor just to the right of the 5 for the fax number. Hit a space and go Command-V, it'd be Control-V on a Windows PC, and copy that bullet one more time inside that block of text. Let's go Control-0 if you're on the Windows PC, or Command-0 if you're working on the Mac, to go back into that Fit in Window view. We're going to get our third block of text that we're going to set, the description for our Total Training Online annual subscription. But we're not going to repeat the mistake that we did a little bit earlier. I'm going to get my selection tool, and I'm going to click on nothing to deselect that text block inside our card flyer. Now I'm going to go Command-D on my Mac. I'm going to select the first fold Total Training Online.rtf file by double-clicking and picking that up in my place gun. I'm going to go just below that Total Training Online logo, and to my left margin, click the mouse button, and it'll place that text once again all the way down. That text frame will go to our bottom margin. Now, I don't have enough room for all this text, and I know that because I can see this little red plus sign. That lets me know that I have more text placed in here than I have text frame to show it. I'm going to fix that by first double-clicking to change from the selection tool to the type tool, going Command-A to highlight all that type, and then going to my control panel and changing the type size to 10 and changing the leading to 12 points. And that gives me enough room to see all the type that I'm working with. I'm going to go here and bring this up just a little bit above that type to set that separate text frame. Once I've got my text frame adjusted, I'm going to double click to change to the cursor, and then I'm going to very quickly click 4 times, 1, 2, 3, 4, to highlight the entire paragraph for that header, Total Training Online, All Access Annual Subscription Includes. I'm going to change the type size for this header from 10 points to 14 points in my character panel, and I'm going to change the leading that goes with it from 12 points to 14 points in my header panel. I'm going to make that bold italic by going Command-Shift-B and then going Command-Shift-I because I'm working on the Mac. If I was working on my Windows PC, I'd be doing Control-Shift-B and then Control-Shift-I to do the exact same thing. Now, the second area where I've got this text set, where we've got these bullets put in, it just simply shows a line left. I'm going to go to the right of the word monthly, and I'm going to hold the mouse button down and drag select all the text that I'm going to turn into bullets. Then I'm going to go to my paragraph formatting controls in the control panel and select the bulleted list button to turn those into independent bullets. And I can see that below in my document window. Now, as I look at this, some of these lines are broken up a little strange. We're going to fix that by using a line break command that we can force into here. Let's start with the second bullet by clicking our cursor just before that capital A for the word all. And what we're going to do is we're going to go to the Type pull-down menu. We're going to go down to Insert Break Character and select the Forced Line Break command. The keyboard shortcut for that is Shift and then the Return or Enter key. I'm going to click on that menu command, and when I do, it's going to take that and it's going to break that down to the next line. Now, the reason I did it this way was because if I just hit the Return key, it would create a second bullet point. That's not what I want to do. Using that Shift Enter or Shift Return command allows me to break that and make that part of the same bullet. Let's do the same thing here for the third bullet, placing our cursor just before the P for Professional Instructors and hitting Shift Enter or Shift Return to bring that down. And then finally, we're going to do that one more time just before the Y in your subscription monthly and do Shift Enter to break that bullet down. We're going to take that final block of retail value of 240, click our cursor inside there, and align that to the right by using the keyboard shortcut Command-Shift-R if you're on a Mac or Control-Shift-R if you're working on a Windows PC system. Now I need to do one more thing before we get away. I want to take this text and center it inside this frame so it doesn't have all this extra space down to the bottom and it's fitting so tight to the top. I'm going to get my selection tool and I'm going to go to that bottom center anchor point and again make it no larger than it has to be to actually fit all that text. Then I'm going to place my cursor inside the text and I'm going to bring this down so that text is essentially centered in the page, just like so. When I've got that done, I release the mouse button and we'll have finished this portion of our InDesign CS6 course. But we've done a lot of work here, so I'm going to use the keyboard shortcut Command S to save my work, and then we'll continue to the next unit.